guys, welcome back to stage 1. I'm Cam and I'm joined by the guys to show off Abe's Oddworld Oddysee, something nice and tasty. Welcome, we got Lauren and we got Stuart. How you doing, guys?
We're doing great.
How is E3 going for you?
Hectic.
Hectic,
yeah. That day is my best E3.
Your best E3?
It's my best, most exciting E3.
Wonderful. So have you had a chance to kind of get out and see some of the other stuff around here, or are you being tied to your own game and your own booth?
Well, fortunately, we don't have a booth. We're indie now, right? A booth, that's like money,
booth.
right? Yeah. But, it's always overwhelming, right? E3 is like, you hear about great stuff that you didn't get a chance to see because it's all meeting after meeting after meeting. But there's some great stuff here.
Excellent. All right, let's have a look at it right now. So, well, maybe if you can talk us through why did you want to make a new remake of the original Abe's Oddysee? Why did you think, hey guys, this is the game we need to do?
It partly came down to me. I've been bugging Lauren for years now about we should go back to this property and this game particularly because as a fan of the original game back in 1997 and 98 with the sequel Abe's Exodus, it was about the characterization, the story and stuff. You take them away from it, it's a platform game.
Yeah.
But with all those on it, it's a fantastic universe, huge amounts of scope and what have you. And the one thing that always got me about it, what was missing was that the foreground with the gameplay was great, but the backgrounds were missing something. Small bits of animation stuff. The analogy I always give, ironically, is the Ridge Racer one. Was just a racing game, but you got airplanes flying overhead and stuff, which no effect on the gameplay. But with this, we want to do the same sort of thing, to bring the environments to life, the gameplay to life. Just make it pop out. I mean, this stuff here in Scribania, it's fantastic. We see that stuff all parallaxing now. Where the original game was flip screen, it's just like, what? It's insane.
I remember the kind of loading between each frame, and then now we just got it continuous, which must make it a much quicker experience to play.
It does give you that element of that you're going straight from one bit to the other bit. The original being flip screen, you had to go on screen. If you screwed a puzzle up, you'd go off screen again and come back on to reset it. Nowadays we have had to tweak the gameplay, so you can't do that anymore. You have to literally redesign parts of the gameplay to work with today's technology, with the scrolling instead of the flip screen. Yeah,
it's totally it's an irony of what's going on, right? Because we made Abe's Oddysee a platforming game when platforming was no longer cool, right? Mm-hmm. Like everyone was going for 3D, and I was like, well, I want to feel I'm less enamored with 3D. I've been doing that personally for 15 years already, but in '94, right? So I'm dating myself, but I've been doing that. And I wanted something more unique, but I love platforming games because I felt like when I saw it done right, starting with Prince of Persia, Out of This World, there was some great touch flashback. I was like, I just love those games. I feel like I'm responsible for a life form. I don't feel like I'm just trying to beat something. Yeah. I feel like I'm responsible for this guy. And then we wanted to do this 2.5D in an era where everyone was going to 3D, and we wanted to do it to get richer looking worlds to look at. We could bring up, you were running across pre-rendered, shadow-casted, fully textured worlds. But it was retro then.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So here we are, 13 years after it released.
But it's cool again, right?
And we're saying, okay, this is kind of like a homage to that genre that we were doing an homage to originally, and we asked the community. Now, this is the huge difference of what happens is when we were releasing games in '97, we didn't really know who was buying them. We didn't have that kind of connection to the gamer. And most people at that time were still learning what WWW means, right? Really. And so since then, we've gotten to know who the community is. And the community is really telling us, like, we want to see more of this. So Stuart had already been telling me, let's go back and redo this game. And I'm like, look, man, they want to see something different, And he goes, no, they don't. And he's running polls online.
Yeah.
And he showed it.
Because you can play the original on Steam, right? So you must have, and on Good Old Gaming, so you must be able to get these stats directly from that.
Yeah, well, you can play it on Steam and on PlayStation Network, thanks to Sony, the ability to play PS1 games. You can still buy those games today.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. But the fan base, they've seen it, they've played it, they've done it, but they want to see it again, but with bells and whistles, running on PS4, running with absolutely fantastic real-time, 60 frames a second, 1080p, etc. And it just so far. To be able to do that switch, now is the time to do that, and we're doing that. That's why the project I wanted to do it was to bring the whole universe to life, not just the characters. And that's why I think now is the right time. That's what the fans wanted as well.
And then what I said was, okay, we'll do it, but we have to do this in this very nostalgia-licious kind of way, where we pay an homage, but we're bringing the later rendering technology to it, where we make it smooth. We wouldn't normally say, a publisher wouldn't say, hey, yeah, this is what we think is going to be the the big hit, you know. And we're not trying to make big hits. We're trying to bring quality gaming experiences now that we're digital at more reasonable prices. And if people like the thing that we were doing, we just want to keep on doing that better, improve marginally. We're self-financing everything today, so we're in a whole different indie category. And you know, and then we get this we get feedback faster, and now we're not like shipping a disc that if we made a mistake, we're dead in the market, right? Oh, we printed 1 million units, but they're bad, or they've got this bug and people hate your game. You're dead, right? Now we're like, we can learn, and as soon as we're releasing, we're like, watch. If we start seeing any issues occur, we're updating that code right away. We're responding to it right away. We're like, hey, we're listening, we heard you, we messed up, we fixed it. Are you happy? You're not happy? What else do we got to fix? And that's a whole different chemistry between creator and audience, and I think it's going to make, you know, games increasingly better over time.
Absolutely. I mean, you talked about the importance of making this a real nostalgia trip. And for people of my age, I mean, I remember playing it for the first time when it came on the demo disc, I think, with the original PlayStation, right? So, I mean, you've got that age group of people who will also feel the very same way about that game. You know, I had huge distribution just being on that demo disc, so it's certainly something that people haven't forgotten, I'm sure.
You know, I remember Phil Harrison explaining to me exactly how the value of that demo disc was. But people saw it like that, right? And we were thought of as a first-party Sony title back in that day, and actually we were third-party. But one of the great things that happened was people at Sony fell in love with it because it was just so different, quirky, unique, odd, not what people were building. And as a result, today we're really lucky because a lot of those people who helped this game make a success back then, they're seeing that we're doing it, and now they've risen up in the organizations. They're somebody now. You know, before they were little guys in the trenches like us. Now they're like, oh yeah, I was on the marketing team. I did this. I helped you guys here. I helped you guys. You know, and so it's just kind of like returning to a family vibe. That's really wonderful. You know, it's great, and they've been pricelessly supportive.
Fantastic. Well, we can see the trailer rolling again here. So tell us about what you've done graphically. Like, obviously, it looks so much more. It looks a lot better than it did, obviously. But what exactly have you done?
Let me just start. I'm going to start by saying this. The first thing, when we made the original game, we archived all the assets. So just in 3D CG, there's almost $3 million worth of assets.
Wow.
Now, we were able to keep all of that and bring it back, and they were able to pull that up and use that as the template. Now, they rebuilt everything, but just starting from that template, we were able to amortize huge value into this that we really wouldn't be able to afford today.
Yeah, and it's the one thing we wanted to do was to make everything in the game as real-time as possible. Yeah. So even the pre-rendered cutscenes are now running real-time on PS4 and PC, you know, that kind of stuff. And just being able to do that with technology today is mind-blowing. I mean, to go back a little bit, and some reason why we did this was, you know, as you said, it's 15 years old since the first game came out. You know, there's a new generation now who have never played this because they say, I don't want to play a PS1 game or whatever. They want to play now. So for us remaking this, it's twofold. One, it's for us, the fans, which I am one of, to go back and play the original game but on steroids. And two, it's a new fan base, a new audience entirely. So when we're redesigning the game and doing things in the game, there are things we have had to think, hang on, how would people play today? So there's original game, you're pressing L1 and, you know, on the D-pad to move around, or right one and D-pad to run and stuff. You can use the left analog stick and that's it. And it's little tweaks and changes like that to enhance the gameplay and speed up gameplay, you know, for the player itself.
Fantastic. I mean, you're saying you're in a world now where there's a lot of other really great platformers. I mean, we've seen quite a few at E3, right? We've got Rayman Legends, we've got Puppeteer, and these are all looking gorgeous, much like Oddysee. So there certainly is a lot of competition out there for your game. I mean, how do you feel about that?
We love competition. You know, the difference is, though, those games are all, well, apart from Puppeteer, you know, Rayman's pretty much a AAA title on cartridge, and it's been distributed not just digitally, but on media as well. You know, we are 100% digital. And that allows us to not sell it $50, $60. We can sell it, you know, $20, $30, whatever, you know, and still make the same amount of money we would have made it at retail at $60. And that's good for us.
And there's another angle on it as well, which is because we are doing it ourselves, because it is digitally distributed, we're able to survive on a lot fewer units. So quite honestly, even that question today, you got a lot of competition. We don't see it. I don't see it that way anymore.
Okay.
And it's not because we think we're great. It's not that. It's that we don't have to go out and be the big hit, you know, and it was there and live with that pressure. And like, you're not the big hit, you're a big loser. And instead, it's looking at it today and going, wow, if we build product that respects our audience, then great. They can enjoy all the other product too if they're supporting us. If we're bringing it to them at a price point when they eat it, they're going, wow, that was a great meal for that price. And these guys know what I like. Then we're not really in a competing against additional products because we don't need to sell 4 million units, right? If we sell 250,000 units, we're in Fat City. We're loving it. We know we're keeping people employed. We know we're going to be building more product. And that's the beauty of it. You know, when we released at $60 at retail, we had a lot of earn back on a multi-million-dollar title before we were actually feeding the coffers again to keep people employed. And when now, it's a much lower ratio. So it's nice because the competition is with our own, ourselves and our audience of like, are we staying current with things that you want? Not, you have to buy us instead of that. It's just a different landscape, and it allows that to happen now. And that's huge. You know, that's huge for us.
And the other thing to touch on briefly is that, you know, when the original Abe's Oddysee came out, Rayman was out then as well. So, you know, it's Rayman Legends. It's a remake with, you know, looking back to the original game from the mid-90s. Same as Abe's Oddysee was, you know. We're competing to some degree against what we were 15, 16 years ago. But a different scape, though. Yeah.
But I'd rather we're running cross promotions for games like that say, if you like games in this genre, you should check these guys out too. That's the future, right? Absolutely. That's the future, that we as developers and creators are doing Netflix recommendations, are doing Amazon purchasing recommendations. We're saying, you know what? If you liked our game and you haven't played Rayman, you should go over there and play that. Now, that's a little bit of a dreamy future. As indies, we're going to start doing that. You watch the different indie people. They all feel like little guys. They're going to start helping cross-promote. They're going to do these different things. We'll do it where we can to support other people. But why not, right? If you like the movie and it's on the shelf, it's not at the theater, it's not competing the opening week. If you like the movie, you go, that was great horror, right? Now, horror fans are going to be like, then you should check this one out too. Not just necessarily from the same director. It's libraries, right? Like worlds of content. And I always hoped video games would get in that space and stop being like, one guy's going to win, who's going to be, and the rest are going to be losers. You know, never really dug that model. We existed in it. But it's exciting to see that lower sales, fewer people can make game builders keep on making more games. And that's a whole game-changing change. And I think it changes the sense of the competitive space as well.
Excellent. So when are our fans of the original and new fans going to get a chance to get their hands on the game, purchase the game, or even to play a demo or anything like that? When are we going to get our first hands-on?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Really, you know, we have a release window, and we're still aiming for that. I think we're due to talk about it properly later in the year at Gamescom. So let's keep it quiet till then.
All right, excellent.
And we're PS4, you know, so there's figuring out a number of things to try and be on there, and wider than that too. But that's our initial platform release.
So yeah, why did you go for PS4? What were your reasons?
Well, one, it's probably the most amazing game system that's been designed by people who know how to build games. Mark Cerny's the chief architect, right? When myself and my partner Sherry McKenna, we pitched Mark Cerny as a playable demo and a design document, Abe's Oddysee, right? Yeah. This guy's been building games a long time. He created the original Marble Madness like in high school. Right? He sold his first 1 million units as a guy who hadn't even been to college yet. We're talking about someone who's got his name as a consultant on all the older Insomniac games, all the older Naughty Dog games. They would bring him in for a consult because he knew what he was doing. Now you got a guy who understands code from machine language up, understands game design and multinational territorialization, you know, which is making it more compatible to more territories. This guy knows games. It's the first time someone who knows the development headache that is designing from the ground up a brilliant new piece of hardware. And so it's a really impressive system, but more importantly, it allows you to get content up with less pain because it's actually catering to your needs rather than going like, oh, figure it out. We're brilliant hardware designers. You can figure it out. You know, I'm so tired of that world, right?
Yeah. And the other side is, you know, they openly invite indies onto their platform.
Absolutely, yeah, they've been quite
vocal about that. That's how it was. That's how it was. You know,
I mean, that's monumental that's possible.
And it's not just that; they actually treat indies exactly the same as they treat the Ubisofts and the Activisions of the world. We have to go through the same process as they do, but it is the same process. There's no we have to do this extra or do that or no qualifications. It's the exact same process. Yeah. If Activision submit something one way, we submit it the exact same way. And that's the way it works for indies, and that's fantastic. It's like Steam. So.
Brilliant. Well, guys, it's been great to meet you. It's been great to hear about Abe's Oddysee and the new edition. So thank you so much for coming on. And for everyone watching at home, make sure that you stay with us, because we have a bunch more games, bunch more content coming right up. So stay here with live E3 coverage from GameSpot on Stage 1.